What if I told you there's a humble little seed sitting quietly on a grocery store shelf that could help women feel more confident in their bodies and help men rediscover intimacy, all without risky pills or expensive treatments? Most people walk right past it, not realizing its potential. But for my friend Helen, 67, and her husband Tom, 70, this seed changed everything. Helen had always felt self-conscious about her body. She'd raised her kids, cared for everyone else, but never really cared for herself. By her late 60s, her confidence was low, and she even started to consider surgery just to feel like herself again. Tom, on the other hand, was quietly struggling too. Years of stress and aging had left him feeling disconnected and less of the husband he wanted to be. One evening over dinner, an old neighbor mentioned something she'd heard from her grandmother back in Mississippi, a natural seed used for centuries by women to enhance their curves and by men to feel young again. Skeptical but hopeful, Helen and Tom decided to give it a try. For Tom, the change didn't happen overnight, but it did happen. He'd always prided himself on being attentive and loving, but over the years he noticed things weren't the same between him and Helen. At first he thought it was just part of getting older, the fatigue, the disinterest, the awkward moments. He even considered seeing a doctor about one of those little blue pills, but the side effects worried him, and frankly he was embarrassed to even bring it up. That's when Helen came home with a small bag of seeds from a local health food store and handed it to him with a smile. "Let's try it together," she said. The seeds were called fenugreek, and although Tom had never heard of it, his neighbor swore by it. She said it had helped her own husband feel like himself again. At first, Tom was skeptical. How could something so simple make any difference? But the science behind fenugreek is actually quite interesting. Fenugreek contains a natural compound called diosgenin, which some researchers say works much like a natural aphrodisiac. Studies have shown that men who incorporate fenugreek into their routine may notice an improvement in their energy, stamina, and yes, even intimacy. Tom decided to add fenugreek tea to his nightly routine. It was easy enough. Boil a little water, steep the seeds, add a spoonful of honey and lemon. Within a few weeks, Helen began to notice the difference before Tom even said anything. He seemed more confident, more alive, more present. Tom couldn't believe it himself. He hadn't felt that kind of connection with Helen in years. And the best part, it was all natural, no expensive prescriptions, no embarrassing trips to the pharmacy, no scary side effects, just a handful of seeds and a little bit of patience. If you or someone you love has been struggling to feel like themselves again, maybe it's time to take a page from Tom's book and give this forgotten little herb a chance. For Helen, the journey was about more than just appearances. It was about confidence. After raising 3 children and spending decades focused on everyone but herself, Helen often felt invisible. In her 60s, she began avoiding mirrors and hiding behind loose sweaters, wishing she could feel feminine and beautiful again. One afternoon, she even visited a plastic surgeon for a consultation. But sitting in that sterile office, listening to the risks, the recovery time, the high price tag, something inside her said, "This isn't the way." That evening, while chatting with her neighbor over sweet tea, Helen confessed how she'd been feeling. That's when she heard for the first time about the humble little seed women in other cultures had been using for centuries fenugreek. Her neighbor explained that fenugreek is naturally rich in phytoestrogens, plant-based compounds that mimic estrogen in the body and can support breast tissue health and even help enhance fullness over time. No surgery, no harsh chemicals, just a natural way to help her body feel like hers again. At first, Helen didn't quite believe it could work, but she figured she had nothing to lose. That night, she soaked a small handful of seeds in water, just as her neighbor instructed, and used the infused water to massage her chest every evening. She also began sipping a warm fenugreek tea once or twice a day, adding a little honey and lemon to make it soothing and pleasant. After a few weeks, she noticed a subtle difference not just in her body, but in the way she carried herself. She stood taller, smiled more, and even started wearing those fitted blouses she used to keep at the back of her closet. For Helen, fenugreek wasn't just about how she looked, it was about how she felt inside. And for the first time in years, she felt like herself again. One of the best things about fenugreek is just how simple and affordable it is to use. You don't need expensive equipment or complicated recipes, just a handful of seeds, some water, and a few minutes a day. If you're curious to try it for yourself, here are the 2 easiest ways seniors like Helen and Tom have added fenugreek to their daily routine. The first is what Helen calls her soothing massage water. Start by placing 2 tablespoons of fenugreek seeds in a small bowl or jar of water. Cover it and let it sit overnight on your kitchen counter. The next morning, strain the water. It will now have a slightly cloudy golden color. Gently massage the infused water onto your chest area in small circles for a few minutes. Some women prefer to warm the water slightly before massaging to make it more relaxing. The massage itself also helps improve circulation, which is good for tissue health. Make it a quiet self-care ritual before bed, and remember that consistency is key. The second is Tom's favorite, the comforting evening tea. In a small saucepan, pour about 1 cup of cool water and add 2 tablespoons of fenugreek seeds. Bring the water to a boil, then remove it from the heat and let it steep for about 20 minutes. Strain out the seeds and pour the tea into your favorite mug. Add a drizzle of honey and a squeeze of lemon if you like. Tom enjoys his tea once in the evening, and sometimes Helen has a cup in the afternoon, but they never drink more than 2 cups a day. That's the maximum recommended amount. More is not better. Both methods are completely natural and safe for most seniors when used in moderation. And because fenugreek is rich in vitamins, minerals, and plant-based compounds, you're also giving your body an extra boost of nutrition with every sip or massage. Whichever method you choose, or even both, the important thing is to make it part of your routine. Like any natural remedy, it works best when you give it time and patience. One of the nicest surprises for Helen and Tom was realizing that fenugreek didn't just help with the issues they were hoping to fix, it also made them feel healthier overall. It turns out this little seed has been used for centuries in traditional medicine because of its many healing properties. Modern science has confirmed what many cultures have known all along. Fenugreek is good for much more than just confidence and intimacy. For starters, fenugreek is naturally high in fiber and can help support healthy digestion. Many seniors struggle with bloating, sluggish digestion, or irregularity, and a warm cup of fenugreek tea can gently stimulate the system and help you feel lighter. It's also known to help lower cholesterol levels. Some studies suggest that regular moderate consumption of fenugreek may help reduce LDL, the bad cholesterol, and support heart health, which is especially important as we age. And if you're someone who often feels chilled in the winter or suffers from seasonal allergies or mild respiratory issues, fenugreek may help there too. It has natural warming properties and can soothe the throat and lungs, making it a comforting choice during cold and flu season. Some seniors even say it helps them sleep more soundly at night. Of course, it's not a miracle cure. No single food is, but when you consider how gentle, affordable, and easy it is to add to your daily routine, it's no wonder this humble seed has stood the test of time. Before you add anything new to your routine, even something as natural and gentle as fenugreek, it's always smart to understand the do's and don'ts. For most seniors, fenugreek is perfectly safe in moderate amounts. But there are a few important tips to keep in mind so you can use it confidently and wisely. Even though it's just a seed, your body may need a little time to adjust. Start with 1 cup of tea a day, or 1 gentle massage, and see how you feel before increasing to the full recommended amount. More isn't better. Experts recommend no more than 2 cups of fenugreek tea per day. Overdoing it can sometimes upset your stomach or even lower your blood sugar more than you'd like. If you've never used fenugreek before, be aware that it is part of the legume family, similar to chickpeas and peanuts. If you're allergic to any of those, it's best to check with your doctor first. And finally, if you take medications for diabetes, heart conditions, or blood thinners, it's always wise to speak with your healthcare provider before adding fenugreek to your routine. It can slightly lower blood sugar and thin the blood, which can be good but may need monitoring. Helen and Tom never expected so much to change from something so small. After just a few weeks of adding fenugreek to their routine, they noticed not just the physical changes but also the emotional ones. Helen carried herself with more confidence. Tom felt more connected and alive. And together they rediscovered a kind of closeness they thought was long behind them. It didn't require expensive pills, risky surgeries, or anything unnatural. Just a humble seed, some patience, and a willingness to care for themselves and each other again. If you've been feeling like it's too late to feel good in your own skin, if you've been missing that spark, that confidence, or that connection, let Helen and Tom's story remind you it's never too late. You can pick up fenugreek seeds at any health food store or even order them online. Try the tea, try the massage, See how your body and your heart respond. And when you do come back and share your experience, we'd love to hear how it works for you, because no matter your age, you deserve to feel confident, vibrant, and loved starting today.